Well, we return to our top story now, the parliamentary elections in Lebanon. The results are in and they indicate a victory for the Western-backed March 14th coalition of Saad al-Hariri. I'm joined now by Jeffrey Feltman. He's acting Assistant Secretary at the U.S. State Department and a former ambassador to Lebanon. So the election is over. Negotiations will begin now to compose a new government. Is a government of national unity that brings Hezbollah back to the cabinet a good thing?
The question of who's in the government is a question for the Lebanese themselves to make. The United States does not deal with Hezbollah. We will not deal with Hezbollah as long as Hezbollah maintains arms in defiance of the international community, the International Security Council resolutions. So we will not deal with Hezbollah, but the question of who's in the Lebanese cabinet, that's not a question that's appropriate for the United States or any outside power to decide. It's a question for the Lebanese themselves to decide, just as the Lebanese themselves yesterday decided who should represent them in parliament.
Okay, but how would you deal with a national unity government that included Hezbollah? The last administration declared Hezbollah a terrorist organization. They had no dealings with their ministers. Whether they come to a national unity government or not, is now not the time for the US to engage with Hezbollah?
Hezbollah has been on the terrorist list in the United States since 1997. It wasn't the last administration. It's been a long-standing policy, and it's based on a number of things: the threat that Hezbollah poses to Lebanon's security, the arms that Hezbollah maintains despite Security Council resolutions, the threat that Hezbollah poses to the Lebanese people themselves, as proven last May on the streets of Beirut. But that's not the issue here. The issue is there were Lebanese elections yesterday. These were exciting elections. It was inspiring to see the Lebanese people come out to vote. The Lebanese people decide who's going to represent them in parliament. Those members of parliament are going to decide who's the best person to become prime minister, to try to put together government.
Okay, but Hezbollah is a very powerful force within that country. They represent a large proportion of the population. Britain, one of America's closest allies, has started to engage with Hezbollah's political wing. If they can do it, why can't you?
I don't think there is a Hezbollah political wing if you listen to Hezbollah itself. Hezbollah's own spokesman said there's no distinction between the military and the political wing. You can ask the UK for the reasons behind their own decision, but our policy toward Hezbollah is that Hezbollah should disarm and play its role politically according to the rules of the game in Lebanon, according to the Lebanese constitution.
But they have been playing a role politically. They won all the allocated seats that they ran for in this election. In fact, they have been playing a role politically for over a year now. They were part of a unity government.
And we do not reject Hezbollah's political role at all. In fact, Hezbollah does have strength among certain segments of the population, very important strength. So Hezbollah is going to play an important role in the parliament. Perhaps Hezbollah will be in the government, depending on how the government comes together. So the question is, why is Hezbollah maintaining an arsenal that is in violation of Lebanon's own Taif agreement and in violation of Lebanon's Security Council resolutions? It's not a question of does Hezbollah have a political role to play in Lebanon. Of course Hezbollah has and is playing a political role in Lebanon.
Well, Hezbollah would argue that they need that arsenal to defend the country against Israel.
The best defense of Lebanon's sovereignty should be the state of Lebanon, should be the institutions of the state. And that's what the international community has.
But the Lebanese army isn't actually capable of defending its country, is it? Because America hasn't provided the Lebanese army with the equipment, with the resources that it needs.
The resources that we provided the Lebanese army, it's over $400 million now worth of training, basic equipment, some advanced equipment, artillery, has been decided in consultation with the Lebanese armed forces themselves. But isn't that a problem? You should have a state that's accountable to the Lebanese people, that's in charge of Lebanon's sovereignty. And I think that's the basic issue here. We want to support a Lebanese state that's accountable to the people, accountable to all the people,
Hezbollah is accountable to the people, aren't they? I mean, it's a very large segment of the population that they provide civil services for, that they're very much representative of the population in Lebanon.
Hezbollah, again, can play a very important political role with its parliamentary delegation, with its parliamentary allies. Hezbollah can use the confessional checks and balances in the Lebanese constitution in order to make sure that its constituent base is well protected and well taken care of. Hezbollah doesn't need to be a state within a state. Hezbollah can play a role in the state itself according to the state rules and according to Lebanon's own
President Barack Obama
constitution.
means what he says about there being a new beginning in America's relationship with the Muslim world. We heard him give his keynote speech in Cairo. There he spoke about ending the cycle of discord and mistrust. How can you do that without engaging directly with groups like Hezbollah? Isn't now the time to put those ideas and those speeches into practice, into a viable policy?
We are dealing with, we will deal with the government of Lebanon. We will deal with political parties in Lebanon, but our policy on Hezbollah will change based on how Hezbollah's own tactics change.
Okay, you're the man that President Obama sent to Syria as his envoy. Now that the Lebanese part of the Middle East jigsaw is slightly clearer, can you move forward with the next part of Obama's policy in the region, his stated aim of engagement with Syria and also Iran?
Well, the president is very sincere. You heard him in Cairo. The president is very sincere about engaging with all countries, all states in the region. And the president is also sincere in his commitment to pursuing a comprehensive peace in the region. A comprehensive peace has to include Syria. A comprehensive peace has to include, eventually, Lebanon. So I would expect that you will see us working with the Syrians, working with the Lebanese, working with the Israelis, in trying to find a way to bring out a comprehensive peace that would benefit all the countries and all the peoples in the region.
Jeffrey Feltman, thanks very much.